joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern and Hurricane Eastern. We have a lot to talk about today. We have Major Hurricane Sam. We'll see where Sam's going. We'll go over all the model data and where I think Sam's going to go. We also have Invest 90L way out into the Atlantic. It just literally came off the coast of Africa. It's very far to the south. Will this be another recurvature like all the last several storms here? We'll break all that model data down for you and see where 90L is going to be heading. There's also another tropical wave out there with it, and the remnants of Peter are trying to make a comeback just east of Bermuda. We're going to break down all the tropics for you, and we're going to go over the fall-like pattern that's ensuing across North America as the NAO index goes very negative. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button so you're alerted when I come out with one of these videos. Always question or comment down below. Smash the like button, gets the video more views and exposure. And as always, don't forget there's timestamps down below. Let's cruise right on into it. All right, now we're taking a look at Major Hurricane Sam, going to continue to push towards the more northwesterly as time goes on, as it rounds that ridge of high pressure out towards the Azores here. It will push towards the northwest, and it will get pretty close to Bermuda here. I think by Friday into Saturday, we'll be looking at the potential for some effects in Bermuda, especially since this system's going to be a very large storm by that point. It is losing some intensity, but as it does so, it kind of unravels and it gets to be a larger wind radii here. So we'll be watching for the prospects of major impacts here on Bermuda. Even though you'll probably be on the western edge of the system, it will be a very large system, and there'll be lots of waves and swells along the U.S. East Coast as well. All right, we're taking a look at the rest of the tropics, and we're dealing with Sam there. There is Sam, and I wanted to show you after Sam gets past Bermuda, that's the big wild card. We have that trough along the East Coast. That's the big if. Can that trough save the East Coast? How strong will that high be over the Azores? It's a big blocking pattern really starting to set up. And Sam will be caught between those two guiding forces. We'll have to see how it plays out. But some of the models take Sam and plow it into southeast Canada. Some of the other models take it further out to sea and recurving before that happens. So I'll go over all the model data here upcoming in the video in about a minute or two. And out in the eastern Atlantic here, just off the Cape Verdes, well south of the Cape Verdes, there's Invest 90L. It just newly came off the African coast here in the ITCZ. And we also have that system, that tropical disturbance out ahead of it that's a bit weaker. We'll be watching both of these systems and how they interact. And, of course, right where Sam is right now, that's where the divergence in the models start with those two systems as well. Some of the models recurve these two systems, and others keep them weaker and bend them more towards the west. Let's get right on all into that. Look at this image of Sam. Look at how powerful this is. Look at a well-defined eye. Even though it's dropped off in intensity, it's still a major hurricane. This is a juggernaut, this system, northeast here of the islands. Looking very powerful and gaining wind radii is heading on out here. Here we go, taking a look at the Gulf of Mexico. Pretty much clear as a bell in the eastern Gulf here, in the southwestern Gulf, central Gulf. We have some areas of showers and thunderstorms persisting a little bit here, but nothing to warrant any problems here. Off the coast of Cuba here in western Caribbean, some showers and thunderstorms, but look at pretty much clear as a bell here. We're heading on to the rest of the Atlantic. There's big old Sam. Big circulation, was up to 150 mile per hour winds on Sunday, but look at that. Since then, it has faded a bit, but can't really tell that by the satellite picture. Very well-defined eye. It's still a major, powerful hurricane. This circulation's becoming bigger as well as it heads to the northwest, eventually in the direction of Bermuda. We'll have to see how close it gets to Bermuda. Out here in the intertropical convergence zone, there is 90L. It just came off the coast of Africa. We're watching this system for potentially our next named storm, and this one out ahead of it that could become a storm eventually as well. Taking a look at the tropical Atlantic here. Thank you to tropicaltidbits.com here. Take a look at Sam out here in the central Atlantic. Look at that, spinning northeast to the islands here. We have the remnants of Peter trying to fire up here. I don't know if you could see it on the previous satellite photo. But then we have this trough here kicking across the East Coast. This could be our saving grace for the East Coast. We'll have to watch and see. But the next system here, 90L right here, and then that system ahead of it, looking pretty impressive. By about the time Wednesday comes along here, there's that big old high pressure. This is the dominating force in the Atlantic. As we put this thing into motion here, does this trough move much? It does not. This is like a very blocky pattern too here, because we have high pressure. Look at this. And we kind of have Sam kind of being sandwiched in between all this as the NAO index is going negative at this point. So we put this further into motion. This is next weekend, just east of Bermuda on the GFS. And see how it gets caught up here? There's a trough. This cutoff trough is kind of kicking the system up to the northeast here. And watch this. Look how it captures it. This trough captures it. High pressure blocking to the east here. Look at that big low pressure over parts of Europe here, just between France and Great Britain. That's impressive. But here you have this big system here off the coast of southeast Canada. Watch what it does to it. Now, this is pretty far out, but look at how it captures it, moves it, and retrogrades it to the northwest, and then eventually back towards the west here. This is what happens in a very blocky pattern like this. And then, of course, we got these systems, weaker systems, staying weak. So look at, they kind of stay further to the south. So we'll have to watch these systems for potential development, even some sort of system in the central Caribbean here. Let's take a look at the CMC model. Does it show very similar? Well, let's put it into motion here. We got Monday. Here we heading on just north is the east of the islands here. Sam's still holding its own pretty good. There's 90L, and there's the system out ahead of it. 90L looking pretty impressive on the Canadian here. Here's that area of high pressure. There's the trough along the east coast. The two key points here to pick Sam up. Trough remains pretty strong here along the east coast, but the blocking, you can see, the blocking is pretty strong here too. So Sam is really caught, sandwiched between the two here. We'll have to see which one wins out, which one's stronger. And look at the Canadian really showing these two systems really taking off here and very close together. We'll have to see what happens here with these two as we put it into motion. There we go, heading further into next weekend. What does it show? Very similar to the GFS. This looks almost identical, except these two systems. Look how they're kind of caught between each other here. And we put this into motion for later Sunday. They kind of try to push to the north here, but there's Sam getting pushed well up into Greenland, or towards Greenland at this point, and then doesn't know what to do with it at this point. It kind of washes out. So what does the European model look like? Well, here we go. We're showing here for your Monday. Here's the Monday. And just northeast of the Lesser Antilles and Leeward Islands here. We put this into motion. And here we go. We're just south of Bermuda by this point. It is a little bit further west than the Canadian and the CMC model. I always notice that with the Euro. But by this point, it is pretty close to Bermuda at this point. So GFS and the Canadian at this point is pretty similar at this point. So the Euro is falling more in line as time goes on. There's those two systems. I'm really interested to see how these two interact with each other, whether we see some sort of dancing around each other that can occur, because this is really close together for two tropical systems. Then we put that into motion. High pressure, it's being sandwiched between two highs here. There's that trough along the east coast staying strong. And then it kind of kicks it out here to the northeast. So we'll have to see if the GFS is right on all that, whether it retrogrades it back westward here. And I want to briefly touch this precipitation map here. You see across north parts of the east coast, you're not in the lion's share of the precipitation like you normally are. We do have that system in the northeast on Tuesday, anywhere from a tenth to as much as a half an inch of rain, especially across New Jersey, parts of southern New England, and Long Island. But it's here across the midsection. Heading more into later Tuesday, Wednesday, and especially into Thursday, we'll be dealing with a stationary front that's going to stall out here. We'll be dealing with severe weather, damaging wind, large hail, isolated tornadoes. Texas is going to be the bullseye, and that'll be spreading up here into the plains in the coming days as the warm weather really kicks in and cold weather kicks in behind it. Change of the seasons here. And then in Pacific Northwest, the ridge will be breaking down into a trough. All right, we're taking a look at the upper air pattern across North America. What we're dealing with here is that there's that trough along the east coast. That is going to be the big factor with steering Sam, especially later in the week, and how long this trough that seems to become more cut off with time sticks around. This could be the big savior to the east coast. Another trough kicking in across the west coast as well, and then we have ridging and above average temperatures in the central part of the U.S. into central Canada. All right, taking a look at your Tuesday across the northeast, this is where we have some trouble spots. Places like Harrisburg, over to New York City, Atlantic City, D.C., Long Island, maybe as far east as southern New England there, and then much of New Jersey. We'll be dealing with the threat of potential for strong to severe thunderstorms. It's not going to be a widespread outbreak. There's not a lot of dynamics here to work with, but we'll have that isolated chance of a damaging wind, large hail going on here. So we'll have to watch for that. The rest of the area just dealing with, scattered showers across much of the Northeast, especially upstate New York. That'll be mainly earlier in the day and then transitioning further south as the day wears on. And Tuesday across the southeast, we have that stationary front along South Florida all the way up to New Orleans and northeast Texas. Along this frontal boundary, we'll have the 20 to 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Nothing severe. Temperatures getting into the upper 80s, near right around 90 along the Gulf Coast. And even Atlanta, Birmingham, and Raleigh getting up towards the mid to upper 80s. And Wednesday across the Northeast, a beautiful day kicking in as that front moves out of the area. Crystal clear blue, brilliant, sunshiny skies, and temperatures getting into the low to mid 60s across upstate New York, Binghamton, Buffalo, Syracuse, and Albany. Look at that, 56 though in Burlington and Toronto. A little cool there. 66 in Boston, 67 beautiful in New York City, 70 in Atlantic City, and you got to go down to D.C. to get into the mid 70s. And Wednesday across the southeast, look at this. We have that same stalled out frontal boundary across southern Louisiana, heading down towards South Florida. Cold front dropping. It's like a backdoor cold front across North Carolina. It's cooling it down into the 70s in Norfolk. But it's further west. We're going to see the focal point for showers and thunderstorm activity to really start kicking up, especially across northeast Texas, northern Louisiana, and southern Arkansas, where we could see some heavier downpours possible, maybe up to an inch or two. And Thursday across the Northeast, look at another beautiful day. Maybe a chance of a stray shower here during the afternoon hours as that cool pull of air in the upper levels of the atmosphere gets some instability going. 20 to 30% chance of an afternoon shower up by Portland and Bangor. But look at this, New York City, sunny and 64, sunny and 60 in Binghamton, a little cool, and 61 in Albany, 55 though in Burlington, continuing with that nice 67 in Harrisburg. And Thursday across the southeast, clearing out across much of the area from Mississippi on eastward. South Florida continuing with a chance of a shower or thunderstorm, but it's across Texas, especially Dallas-Fort Worth, just west of Houston, southward here. We have that slight risk of severe thunderstorms, damaging wind, large hail, and a potential of an isolated tornado as well. So watch out for that. Mid to upper 80s and near 90 across the Gulf Coast, although Tampa will be getting the hot spot, 93, 87 in Atlanta, and then cooling down in the Carolinas, 77 in Raleigh, and 74 in Norfolk. And Friday across the Northeast, another brilliantly sunshiny day here. A high pressure building in across Lake Ontario here, crusting overhead, really sinking air, and look at that. Temperatures will be warming on the backside, 69 in Pittsburgh, 67 in Erie, 66 in Buffalo, and along the coastline as well, 66 to 69 from Boston down to Atlantic City, mid-60s in New York City. And look at that, warming up a little bit here in Binghamton, Syracuse, and Albany into the low to mid-60s as well. Taking a look at your Friday here across the southeast, pretty much very similar to Thursday. We're dealing with that stalled out frontal boundary across Texas. The focal point of strong to severe thunderstorms around Houston, Dallas-Fort Worth, northeastward, and some with heavy downpours, flash flooding, damaging wind, large hail. Isolated tornadoes possible, especially in that yellow zone. South Florida also dealing with another front that is moving from north to south here, so scattered showers and thunderstorm potential continues. Temperatures mid to upper 80s along the Gulf Coast, right around 90 South Florida, and mid to upper 80s places like Alabama, Georgia, and into the 70s in North Carolina and Virginia. And taking a look at the extended outlook for my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna region of upstate New York and northeast Pennsylvania, and all points in between. Tuesday through Saturday, scattered showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday, mainly between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Only looking up to a tenth of an inch in places that do get it. With the stationary front, only getting up towards 67. It will be your warmest day. However, look at that. Lows dipping down into the 30s for Thursday morning, Friday morning, and Saturday morning. Temperatures only getting right around 60 by Thursday and low to mid 60s for Friday and Saturday. So definitely looking a bit more fall-like here, but brilliantly blue skies and crystal clear sunshine. Get out there and enjoy. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern and Hurricane Eastern. Don't forget to give my Facebook pages some love, Media Mark, also Weather Northeastern and Hurricane Northeastern. Twitter at Weather Eastern. It used to be WX Northeastern, now it's Weather Eastern on Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button so you're alerted when I come out with one of these videos. Smash the like button, gets the video more exposure. Go ahead and share the video if you like. Question or comment down below.